So my name's Emma Rigby and I'm the founder and director of Love Your Doorstep. I arrived in London in 2003 and I moved to Palmer's Green actually in 2005, and I spent most of probably 3 years of when my children were very young here in Palmer's Green. I lived in Caversham Avenue and Elmwood Avenue, so really loved that time in Palmer's Green, and now I live in Enfield Town. When I left school, I actually came over to Europe and I went travelling. I really wanted to come and live in London, and I ended up travelling around Europe and doing, I think it was something like 18 countries in 45 days. I think that's what us New Zealanders tend to be quite famous for, but I got a real taste of Europe and also spent some time in London. And following that, went back to New Zealand, and I worked in the hospitality industry for years, working in restaurants and bars across Wellington and Auckland, and then moving into telecoms. So I worked for Telecom New Zealand for maybe 5-6 years before I then came back to London. I was 24 when I arrived back in London, and I was just really keen to live and work over here. And at that point I was on a 2-year working holiday visa, part of the Commonwealth, so a Commonwealth citizen, and I had no intentions of staying, and I've been here close to 15 years now. So it's amazing how quickly time goes.
What led you to set up Love Your Doorstep?
I've thought about this regularly, setting up Love Your Doorstep. I think the background that I'm from in New Zealand, I grew up in the tourism industry. So growing up with parents that were part of that industry, we were very, very community orientated, always welcoming tourists into Rotorua, where I grew up, doing lots of events and things like that. And Love Your Doorstep, I think, was in my subconscious for a very long time. I always wanted to set up my own business, and I've always been very community orientated. But also I've got the business side to what I do as well. So I look back prior to Love Your Doorstep, and I'd already started creating a local magazine and local ways to communicate with local people about what was happening on their doorstep. So when the riots happened, it just seemed like the perfect opportunity for me to launch something. And at that point, social media had really started to take off. But no one was really utilising Facebook groups very much, and that for me was the perfect platform to start building a community. So it was always in my subconscious, but social media really helped me take it forward, and it was perfect for me rather than print. When we set Love Your Doorstep up in 2011 following the riots, 6 months after that, I started building the website, because a Facebook group can only do so much. And what I wanted to do was capture all those amazing businesses. So people had a directory that they could use that was built by the community, for the community. And when we launched in 2012, it was July 2012, over 60 local businesses supported us. They came on board, and for me that was just incredible, because it showed me that this model was going to work if we kept working hard, and it showed me that businesses were actually getting more business from it. And the biggest thing was that money was being spent locally. So we're going into year 5 now, and we support over 700 local businesses across Enfield, Barnet and Hertfordshire.
That's wonderful.
And those businesses range from anything from a local cake maker all the way up to department stores like Pearson's on our high street, and even Enfield Council is a Love Your Doorstep business. So there's something like 80 different categories, from cafes to MOT centres to people that craft, people that make things. So we've got a large variety now of local businesses that we support. So Love Your Doorstep works primarily from what we've done, which is building from the community up. So What we've done is we've created a community of people that want to support local businesses and want to support each other. And that takes a huge amount of management and commitment from the team that I've got. So there's 8 of us in total. We full-time moderate our community groups. So we are a business. We're using a Facebook group, but we are actually a limited company that's utilised different social media platforms. So we open at 9 o'clock in the morning, we close at 9 o'clock in the evening, 7 days a week, and we probably get anything from 3 to 5 posts a minute through our groups. So my staff have to be fully trained and they need to understand exactly what's happening across the whole borough, or being able to call on people that do know. And they'll get anything from my child's got chicken pox to I need an urgent care pharmacy to all the electrics have just blown in my house, can anyone help? So our community management team are very skilled and knowledgeable about everything going on across the borough. Love Your Doorstep has expanded, so we started here in Enfield. This is still our baby and where our passion is, but following the setup in Enfield we wanted to trial the model in different areas. So we're still, I believe, in start-up pilot stage, even though we are going into year 5. So we trialled the model in Barnet, Hertfordshire, and we wanted to try it outside of London. So we're now in Braintree, which is very similar to Enfield in the way that it's set up. So you've got kind of a north and south divide up there. And we've also now launched in Cambridge and Shrewsbury. So Enfield's obviously our biggest, and the model is working, and that's really positive. So it shows that the Love Your Doorstep model can work in any community. And what we've also done is set one up in Australia. I'm from New Zealand, but a really old school friend of mine lives in a small beach town in Australia, and she's set the Love Your Doorstep model up down there, and it's working really well. And it's all about pushing local people in touch with local products and services and informing people about what's happening on their doorstep. And that's the ethos of what we do. And you'll find that in the Love Your Doorstep groups, people just want to help each other. That's what it's all about. But it does need rules, and it does need leadership behind that. There's thousands of Facebook groups out there, but without the right management and without the right skills and dedication, those Facebook groups don't work as well as what Love Your Doorstep does. So there's a lot of effort that goes in behind what we do.
Have you and Love Your Doorstep been nominated for any awards?
Over the last 3 years, we have won a number of awards. So we've won the Enfield Innovation Awards, which was fantastic for us. It really helped take us to that next level. We won a small amount of prize money for that, so it helped us buy our first laptops that we still use now. So it just gave us that momentum to keep going. And the following year after that, we won Enfield's Business of the Year through the Federation of Small Business and Enfield Council. And then the year after that, we were actually finalists in 2 London categories for the Federation of Small Business Awards, myself for Entrepreneur of the Year and Love Your Doorstep for Innovation, so the Innovation category, and that was London-wide. So what we do try and do is enter different awards to see, you know, how far we can get. And it's helping put Enfield on the map as well, to show that something that started around the kitchen table can actually, with dedication, grow to, you know, a small viable business.
What are your plans for the future?
Okay, so plans for the future for Love Your Doorstep, it's still in my mind that we want to roll out nationwide. I believe this can be in any community across the UK. There's a few things slightly letting us down at the moment, and that's just due to the size of the business that we are and the growth that we've had. One of them's our technology, but that's currently being looked at, and we've got some really exciting things coming up in the future. The other one is just lack of resource, finding the right people in these areas to work with our brand and take the brand forward. And again, when resource has to be pulled back down into Enfield because we're so busy, these are things that any small business goes through. So it's resource and cash flow really. But we have had interested parties that are very interested in investing in Love Your Doorstep to help us take it further. So that's really exciting. So watch this space over the next 18 months. We have an investor at the moment that's invested a small bit of capital into Love Your Doorstep, and he's been a great mentor for me. And he's really taught me a lot about business and structure, and helping drive the business side of things forward in regards to all of our processes and things like that. So I think the business itself is now at a level where we are getting interest from larger investors, and with his help and with the great team I've got round me, we'll make the right decisions when it comes to that.
Thank you, Emma.
My pleasure.
That's fantastic.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thanks.
Some of the words